Okay guys, so I just wanted to give you an update on what I'm doing here. So I got Bo's quad that he sent me to that I could have, the one that went in the ocean. This is the Demibot that he crashed in the saltwater ocean. Well, you know, I tried to fix the flight controller in ESC and I couldn't. So I got the frame out this morning and I decided, okay, I'm going to start building on this thing. First thing I'm gonna need is a flight controller. So I had one of these iFlight flight controllers, 30 by 30. The buzzer don't work on it, but it works. The D-shot works if you know if you don't get no input after 10 minutes, it'll start beeping. Motors will start beeping. And I've got a lost model alarm that beeps if the battery comes undone. So I don't guess I really need a beeper on a switch. But anyway, I thought, well, I'm gonna revisit the flight controller that come out of Bo's quad and see if I can figure out what might be causing it, what's wrong with it. Because you could get power to the board by plugging it into the computer, but it wouldn't show up, it wouldn't do anything in Betaflight. So I got it back out, plugged it up to the computer, and then I remembered I used to have this old program called RC Fixer or something like that, RC Driver Fixer. So I went and found that and I ran that program on it, and that fixed it as far as being able to hook it to Betaflight. Now I can hook this little board to Betaflight and everything shows up like normal. So then I came in and I wired me up an ESC and I plugged it into here and plugged the battery in, and it wouldn't power up. So I got to studying the board real close, and I could see where it was burnt right there. You may not be able to see it, and it actually flaked off as I was picking on it. Well, that was the 5-volt regulator for this board. It had burned up. It had melted it and cracked it, and so I just took it completely off. It still powers up by USB and everything shows up in Betaflight. So I really think the board will work, but you got to be able to power it. So I seen an old Joshua Bardwell video one time where he said you could take a flight controller like this and take a 5-volt regulator, just a cheap 5-volt regulator, run it from the battery to the regulator, and then come out of the regulator and go to any 5-volt pad on the flight controller and solder the output of the 5-volt regulator to that and then to a ground, and that would power the flight controller and make it work. So that's what I plan on trying to do, and maybe use it in another build. So maybe this flight controller will turn out to be good. The next problem was I needed a receiver. Okay, you guys know I put the receiver in this little quad the other day, the little Beta 95. It was the only one I had that I could use, and actually I took it out of something else. Well, I couldn't get it to work in this little quad. No matter what I did, I couldn't get it to work, and you got to take the whole darn drone apart because the boards are way down deep in it. Well, I figured out why it wouldn't work now. I had made a mistake. I had wired the S-bus wire to a TX pad and not an RX pad, and anyway, I'm pretty sure that's why it wouldn't work, because I took it out yesterday or day before, and I put it in this quad of Bo's here, this little 3-inch, and I got it to work, and that's how I flew his drone. So then I gotta have a receiver for this Demibot, so I had to take it back out of this drone. I'm moving it from one drone to the next. Anyway, I've got it in this one now, and I'm to the point now to where I've tried everything. Everything seems to work so far. I've still got to power up the air unit is all I got to do. But I wasn't sure about HD enough to know, because this is not an HD flight controller, and I wasn't sure how you went about wiring that up, if it was even possible. So I did some research, figured all that out. I've got it figured out now, and I've got it wired up. All I got to do now is hook up but this board don't have a 10-volt output. But Ike did send me some regulators. So I'm going to I've already got a regulator. That's actually a regulator right there, shrink wrapped. So I'm going to wire that down to the battery, and then that puts 12 volts out to this. And I got it, and these original DJI units don't have no damn way to mount them. There's no screw holes. So I've been using this stuff here, this double-sided sticky foam tape. It don't work worth a darn. Everything you hook to it. Ike said to get some. Ike Queen told me to get some alien tape, so I went and got some. So it's real clear, and it's supposed to be really good stuff. So we're gonna put a lot on the bottom of that air unit, because if this air unit comes loose and slides around and touches the way this ESC is made, it could get over on the corner of the ESC and it'd short everything out. Damn, that'd be an expensive mistake. So it's got to stay put. But I used the 45 amp ESC that I got in the mail the other day. That I forget what it's called now. The iFlat Blitz, I think it was. And then I got an iFlat 30x30. It's an old V1 flight controller, Success E, but it always done real good for me. And I've already put it in 3D mode and tested the motors and everything in there in the room. Everything runs great, but man, them damn motors is noisy as shit. I know they're brand new motors almost. He didn't have hardly no flight time on them, but I reckon, and they sound smooth and feel smooth spinning them by hand. But when you hook them up and you turn them on, undoubtedly the salt got in there and pitted the bearings, because they sound rough. But I'm hoping it flies good. We'll find out. I don't know, they sound pretty rough, but maybe they'll last a while.